When reading or watching a story or film, audience members almost always fall for the dark, brooding characters who choose to go up against the grains of society. It doesn't matter if they read classic literature from Lord Byron or watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In fact, one character from Buffy, Spike, offers several of the characteristics given in various essays on the Byronic hero villain. Moreover, Spike is an awesome example of the Byronic hero because of his appearance, behavior, and personality. The Byronic hero villain's origins can be traced back to Lord Byron's original works of the Romantic epic, and the root of this motif lies in the words of the epic poem Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. This poem was practically autobiographical and reflected many of the mannerisms and personality traits of Byron himself. This persona often rejected the normalcy of society and sought his own path. These characters were also more emotionally damaged, complex, and overall more intriguing to readers because they were more psychologically realistic in comparison to other people. As Byron continued writing, he sought to create a persona that broke away from the traditional mold of romantic hero, and from this notion the concept of the Byronic hero was born. During his career, this motif of hero-villain became more and more pronounced in his work, especially in his works published in 1814, including The Corsair and Lara. According to the Norton Anthology of English Literature, the former of these pieces offers a figure who is much more isolated, darker, more complex in his history and inner conflict, and therefore more frightening and more compelling. These works also encapsulated Manfred in Horace Walpole's The Castle of Otranto and Schedoni, a guilt-ridden, constantly sulking figure who appears in Anne Radcliffe's The Italian. It is also noted that Byron gained inspiration for this personification from Napoleon Bonaparte. The Byronic hero, an essay written to explain the origins and the very nature of this motif, offers a grand explanation of how an ordinary hero should act. But many of these traits apply to the Byronic hero persona as well. Of course, in order for this to apply to the Byronic hero, these notions must be twisted into a much darker, cynical, and conflicted characterization than that of the usual heroic figure, rather like Lord Byron himself. The figure has to be above the common man, exercising power, dignity, and a soul greater than that of what is universally recognized as normal. But a hero is an idealized fabrication. By twisting the aforementioned ideals, Byronic heroes are commonly known as bad boys or rock stars. Of course, Spike seamlessly befits those notions. William Pratt, who later is christened Spike because of his torturous treatments of people with railroad spikes, was portrayed Buffy by James Marsters. His first appearance on the show, School Hard, occurred in episode 3 of season 2 in 1997. In this episode, Spike literally comes crashing into Sunnydale, demolishing the Welcome to Sunnydale sign in an unforgettable debut. In a way, this behavior exemplifies the over-the-top nature of romantic hero villains, presents him as larger than life.
I'm looking for this guy. Bleach blonde hair, leather jacket, British accent, kind of sallow, but in a hot way.
Yeah, I know the guy. Billy Idol wannabe?
Actually, Billy Idol stole his look from... Never mind.
His appearance is the first indication of his Byronic nature: dark clothes, unorthodox matrix style, and a brooding sense of malice. Throughout the series, Spike commonly sports his trademark leather duster and an almost completely blacked-out punk style that is occasionally complemented by a red shirt, and bleach blonde hair that gains him the nickname of Captain Peroxide. This look is unorthodox in every manner, and it drives home the level to which Spike rebels against society's fabricated norms.
And what can I tell you, baby? I've always been bad.
However, William was not always like this. In fact, before he was sired by his eventual lover Drusilla in 1880, William Pratt was an aristocratic poet who people constantly ridiculed.
William, favor us with your opinion. What do you make of this rash of disappearances sweeping through our town? Animals or thieves? I prefer not to think of such dark, ugly business at all. That's what the police are for. I prefer placing my energies into creating things of beauty. I see. Well, don't withhold, William.
Rescue us from a dreary topic.
Careful. Things are still wet. Please, it's not finished. Don't be shy. My heart expands. It has grown effulgent, inspired by your beauty, effulgent. Effulgent. That's actually one of his better compositions.
Have you heard? They call him William the Bloody because of his bloody awful poetry.
It suits him. I'd rather have a railroad spike through my head than listen to that awful...
According to the Byronic hero types and prototypes, the Byronic hero often enjoys working on and listening to music or poetry as a way to circumvent the deep guilt felt for his tragic past. In addition, Spike's personality is entirely indicative of the Byronic hero villain. He is always sarcastic and snarky. His cynicism gives the character an entire other layer. Spike also partakes in multiple destructive activities, such as copious amounts of drinking, smoking, and even gambling. Since he is a vampire, none of these activities actually harm his being, and even though this is a harmful way to live life, audience members can relate to Spike as self-destructive lifestyles are common. William the Bloody is an extremely attractive and alluring figure. His independent tendencies just further intrigue audiences even more, and also intrigue other characters who eventually fall for him, including Drew, Harmony, and eventually Buffy. Furthermore, the irony of falling in love with Buffy Summers is not lost on audience members. As she is the Slayer, as she is destined to kill vampires, yet Spike still falls in love with her. Of course, as befitting the nature of such a dark and deeply flawed individual, falling in love with him comes at a terrible price. Drew ends up being cast out because Spike's affections change. Harmony gets sent away because Spike grows to hate her. Finally, in the end of all things, Spike's love for Buffy makes him retrieve his soul and become a champion. However, it also causes him to sacrifice himself for love and save the world. Of course, as is with any figure of this nature, he also has a softer, more emotional side that is reflective of his old self and his tragic past. Most of these occurrences happen toward the end of the series, and Spike goes through his redemption arc and realizes just how much his feelings for Buffy have changed him.
When I say I love you, it's not because I want you, or because I can't have you. It has nothing to do with me. I love what you are, what you do, how you try. I've seen your kindness and your strength. I've seen the best and the worst of you. And I understand with perfect clarity exactly what you are.
In Season 2, Spike wanted nothing more than to raise destruction and wreak havoc. However, by Season 7, he has joined the good side and even sacrificed himself for love, thus establishing that he is a hero villain with a dark past, brooding nature, and a deeply emotional, softer side that is only seen in rare instances. Spike is a character who is tired of the world but still elects to live in it and even fight for it. Beginning as a simple fool who just wants to win the affections of a girl with bloody, awful poetry, Spike eventually becomes a champion of that similar love in every respect and even goes down in a final blaze of glory as a result.
No, you've done enough. You could still...
No, you beat them back. It's for me to do the cleanup.
Buffy, come on!
Gotta move, Lamb. I think it's fair to say school's out for bloody summer.
William Spike Pratt, the malicious yet magnificent punk-styled Captain Peroxide, is a spectacular exemplar of the Byronic hero villain because of his appearance, behavior, and his personality.